What's up, everybody? Welcome into another edition of the CanesInSight podcast. I am your host, Peter Ariz, alongside D-Money as usual. We have another edition of The Bank, which everyone is always waiting on pins and needles to hear the new info that D-Money drops every week when it comes to the recruiting and team info. But of course, huge news out of Coral Gables this afternoon as Gino DeMare resigned. First reported by CanesInSight D. It's a little reminiscent of the old days when we were breaking the coaching news left and right. If you're a golf fan, Tiger Woods can't really get through a full 4 rounds, can't really get through a full 18, but he'll hit some shots that remind you why he's Tiger. So we still got a little something left in the tank, D.
Yeah, I think it's more like the Jordan 4.5. We kind of remind everybody with that 55-point performance, and now it's going to be a dynasty going forward. So that's what I'm thinking. But congrats on breaking that story. Felt good to see. Obviously, you did the reaction pod with Javi Salas, Canes baseball legend, which you can check out on the YouTube channel, on the website, on the podcast stream, wherever your podcasts are streamed. Remember to like and subscribe to this show so you can get all those on your feed right away. But that was a great episode, the emergency pod. Check us out on Canes.Insight Instagram. A lot of content on there. You get the Shopify. If you want the merch, you see it right there. The link is in the bio. Some great stuff there. And just all kinds of ways to consume Canes Insight content. The best probably be in the forums, CanesInsight.com forums, 6.3 million posts and counting, and they're going crazy this weekend with every social media tweet, every breadcrumb, everything is a 5-alarm fire and a major thread, and it happens right away on CanesInsight.com. It is instant reaction to everything on the forums. Okay, so this weekend, probably the biggest weekend that I can remember for the Canes as far as visitors. You are talking about multiple 5-star defensive end from Duncanville, Texas, Colin Simmons, 5-star cornerback originally from New York, currently at IMG, Ellis Robinson, a Georgia commit, David Stone, originally from Oklahoma, IMG, defensive tackle, major stud, Aiden Breland, Southern California. He's here this weekend for what seems like the third, I think, time. Then you also have Dylan Stewart, a defensive end out of Washington, D.C., somebody that Miami is super high on. He's visiting again. He's been here multiple times. They're all just 5-stars. Beyond that, you have other players who we'll talk about, including Jarrett Gibson, the running back from IMG, who's one of the highest-rated players in the country. Just tons of highly recruited players here this weekend. And we'll have that all covered on the forums. And then also I'll do a bank right after the weekend wraps up. Make sure you're subscribed to get that right when it drops, and we'll do it instantly so you get the news as fresh as it is. But wanted to bring everybody up to speed on what I'm hearing overall on recruiting, including last week's visitors, the latest there, and just some overall trends. Starting with the 5-stars that are visiting here, the word is we have to win. And obviously, we're not going to play a game before these guys visit. We're not going to play a game probably before they announce. But in terms of keeping guys in the class that do announce for us, or potentially flipping guys that have a great visit here, but then they commit elsewhere, all these guys, or the most of them, are going to be in play. If we get them committed, they might still be in play if we start losing to other schools. If they commit elsewhere, we start winning, we'll be able to bring them back in. So the word I heard from talking to people around the program, with this class in particular, we have to win. We got the visits. These guys are visiting multiple times. They are familiar with the campus. The connections are there personally, coaching-wise, among the recruits themselves. Familiarity with campus, the parents' familiarity with campus. Check, 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 check. Winning is what's going to decide what this class looks like. Not now, not in August, but in December and in February. So that's different than last year, where really most of the work was done early. The team was 0-0. The coaches were 0-0. Now they got that 5-7 to live with. So something to monitor there. A guy like Ellis Robinson, the cornerback committed to Georgia. I heard he loves Miami. I don't want to say he's looking for a reason to come to Miami, but Miami is an extremely good shot at him. But he is going to need to see something on the field. But this weekend, you could make some positive steps with him and his family, certainly on his official visit. In terms of guys that visited last weekend, James Nesta, the linebacker out of North Carolina, Charlotte area. Miami's getting really good feedback from him. If sign day was today, he'd be a Cane, but he still needs to visit North Carolina and Oklahoma. Obviously, Oklahoma is a threat. Coach Venables has a long tradition with linebackers. North Carolina, where he's from. Both those schools have good baseball programs. He's a two-sport athlete with a mid-90s fastball. He would play baseball if he came to Miami as well. But watch that. Miami really likes him. Also in the linebacker class, Cam Pruitt from Mobile, Alabama. He is visiting this weekend. Watch his film. First 3 hits, you'll be sold on this guy as a big-time player. I've heard Levante David comparisons from Miami people talking to people this week. They absolutely love this guy. He's visiting this weekend. They'd love to land his commit. Keyshawn Flowers, Miami battling Notre Dame, battling Maryland. He's from Baltimore, Maryland. Big, fast middle linebacker. Also visiting this weekend. Miami would love to land him. So between Nesta, Flowers, Pruitt, Vincent Shavers already in the class from Miami Central. I think Miami's linebacker class should be sorted quickly, and I expect those names to be part of it. Some combination of those 4 names, maybe 3 of those 4. Miami also recruiting Chris Cole out of Virginia, cousin of Rohan Marley. But right now I'm hearing more traction with the names I just listed at linebacker. That's a position I watch because I think it's picking up steam fast. Running back, I keep mentioning the name Kevin Riley out of Tuscaloosa, Alabama, top 100 player. And I get feedback, why are you talking about a running back from Tuscaloosa, Alabama? He's going to go to Alabama. Alabama wants him, which they do. I heard that there are certain people pushing for him to leave Alabama, and he's open to that. He's visiting next weekend. He is sky high on Miami's board. Miami's going to push very, very hard with Kevin Riley. They love him. They're getting good feedback from him, and they're going to take their best shot. He's a name to watch that's, to me, not talked about enough, probably because people assume he's going to Alabama. I'm told that that's not, obviously it's a threat, but do not assume that. That is not the message that they are receiving on their end. Cornerback, Demetrius Freeney, as we record this here at 7:51, has yet to commit. I expect him to commit to Miami. Junior college corner, we've talked about him a bunch. 6'1", 190, great kid, 10.9 speed, high school quarterback. Didn't like the offers he was getting at quarterback. Went to JUCO as a full qualifier. Played a year corner. Got the offers he likes. Now, I believe, is going to commit to Miami. We'll see. Maybe I'll look silly tomorrow morning when this drops. But I think he'll be a Miami Hurricane and really bolster that class. Not just immediate impact, but a couple classes in the future. He has 3 years of eligibility. Losing Antoine Jackson, losing Cormani McClain, losing Kamari Rogers. Miami needs more people in that pipeline going forward. So I would watch him. Name at corner who's generating a lot of early buzz as someone who's already on campus. Robert Stafford. I heard he had multiple picks at practice. Some people are talking about him as a potential wide receiver, kick returner, punt returner. He looks absolutely dynamic. Still a little skinny, but he looks very, very dynamic, generating buzz amongst both coaches and players with his athletic ability early on. Some other names I'm hearing a lot about. Again, continue to hear about Tommy Kinsler, the offensive lineman from Ocala, just a monster, huge, athletic, stands out physically even amongst Francis and Samson Okunlola. Josh Horton, the fast rising defensive tackle from North Carolina. I think Miami might have, from Atlanta, former North Carolina commit. Miami may have stolen there because he's a basketball player, somebody who's really sort of a late bloomer, and his senior film is as good as anybody. Really looks a lot like Leonard Taylor. Not as highly rated, but if you put their film side by side, very, very similar, both really disruptive, athletic guys, similar body types. Keep an eye on Josh Horton as an emerging player. Also hearing great things about Mark Fletcher. Physically, again, coaches and players are both buzzing about what he's bringing to the table. It's no contact. It's just workouts, but you can tell the guy is a beast. He's leaned out. He's working hard. Also, A.J. Allen, the transfer from Nebraska, getting significant buzz. Those are just a few guys that really are raising eyebrows early in these summer workouts. But recruiting-wise, Zaquan Patterson, the safety from Chaminade, he was here on Wednesday. Heard that visit went very well. Miami loves where they stand with him. As far as local guys, he's the guy I keep hearing, like, this could be a local ambassador for the class. This could be the guy we really hang our hat on locally. Obviously, this guy played with all these studs, Miami Gardens, Chaminade, very well-known local player, tore it up on the 7-on-7 scene, even played some receiver. He'll play a safety for Miami, played in the box, capable of that, good special teams player, just an all-around athlete, all-around football player. Miami is feeling very good about Zaquan Patterson. Some other names to keep an eye on. Elijah Lofton visiting this week from Las Vegas. He's been on campus multiple times. Miami needs to lock down his commitment. I think that's the story. Miami wants him to be one of the 2 tight ends in this class. They're going to push hard. They got to get him. Other names to note that TJ Lindsey from Arkansas now is at IMG. I heard he's a +1 from Miami. They'll take him no matter what. They're taking, people ask, how's this defensive tackle board stack up? Miami's going to take any of these guys that want to come and figure out the numbers later. These guys are too rare physically. They just got to get them when you can get them. So David Stone, Jericho Johnson, Justin Scott, Artavius Jones from Panhandle, TJ Lindsey, Aiden Breland. I'm sure I'm missing others. These are guys you take and you figure out the rest later. Nobody's worried about numbers with those guys. Some other visitors I want to update you on. Draylen Miller, the wide receiver from Port Arthur, Texas. I made a very strong move with him. Tia Joseph, the director of recruiting operations, had a relationship with him dating back to Texas A&M. And she's been instrumental in the recruitment. Hers and Miami, Texas A&M battle there. Kamarion Franklin, defensive lineman from the Memphis area, Miami, Tennessee battle. Miami is bringing in Braylon Staley, a wide receiver from South Carolina, track star, super talented guy. Clemson took 2 highly rated receivers last week, so he's trending more towards Miami and Tennessee. We'll see how this weekend goes. I think that'll be a Miami-Tennessee battle for a very talented wide receiver who sits high up on our board. Other name to watch. Oh, I should mention LJ McCray. We talked all these 5 stars. LJ McCray from Daytona Beach is probably as talented as anybody, according to Miami. They think this guy's a superstar waiting to happen. They're just as excited about him as anybody else that's coming this weekend. LJ McCray out of Daytona Beach. A lot of comparisons to Leonard Williams from the New York Giants, who came from the same high school. One more name to store away. Ja'Cory Barney, wide receiver from Palmetto here in Miami. Came down to Miami, performed extremely well. Peter, I know you saw him live a couple of times. He's someone that made a name at camp this week with Miami. Miami's going to monitor him closely.
Kid's a stud. Saw him play. We've talked about how I saw Palmetto play a bunch last year, played both sides of the ball. And really when Robbie Washington, there was a few games I went to where Robbie came off because he had a knee issue one game and just teams keying in on him. And Barney was a stud, man. Really, really intrigued by him. And just to, jump in on what you said about Tommy Kinsler, saw him walking around campus the other day, looks extremely leaned out from the pictures that I had seen. I had never seen him in person before that, but looks really, really leaned out, which I think you had mentioned last week, but extremely wide up top. So, I've seen both him and Francis, and like you said, he gives him a run for his money in terms of physical, imposing nature.
Yeah, I saw Matt McCoy today, another big guy. The body types on offensive line are totally different. Another name to keep an eye on offensive line, Ty Hilton. He's visiting this weekend from Oviedo, same high school as Matt Lee, Orlando area. I'm told he's a take. Miami wants developmental tackles that have the upside to be truly great players. They're not just trying to get stopgap guys. They got the 5 stars. Obviously, they'd love to get guys like that every year. But I think this year it's more likely to be somebody who has the talent to be that kind of guy, maybe more like a Kinsler last year, that isn't necessarily there yet, like Francis or Sampson, where they're, instant coffee. So keep an eye on Ty Hilton, who's visiting this weekend as a potential tackle in this class. Miami really likes what he brings to the table.
D, great stuff as always. You beat me to it. I was about to say it for the first time. I was about to beat you to it.
All right, I'll let you get your reps in. Go, get your practice.
Like, subscribe, comment. The comments are always great too, right? Hopefully I didn't cut you off as much today, right? Which I cut you off right there, but we have the live after this, so hopefully I don't cut you off on there either. But as we do always, every Thursday night, check out the live as well. Brad Tejeda going to be joining the show, and this is going to be a recurring theme, guys. So this is not just, we're not just doing this now during the summer. We're going to do this now moving forward. Going to bring you that up-to-date info. Again, like we said at the start of the show, check out the podcast with Javi Salas in terms of the instant reaction on Gino DeMare's resignation. We're bringing you the football. We've always brought that to you guys, but the basketball and the baseball, we're stepping up the coverage. Like Dee said, this is the reincarnation. We're bringing it back better than ever. We were what we were before. We're going to be something much greater now moving forward. CanesInsight.com.
I love it. Go Canes.
Go Canes.